The weather outside may give you chills, but the North Central Wrestling squad is turning up the heat this season. As the team turns down the home stretch on the way to Nationals, you can get all the grappling news and notes that you need. The Cardinal Report starts right now. Welcome to the Cardinal Report. I'm Alex Simmons. This week we're joined by the North Central Wrestling team and head coach Kevin Bratland. Coach, thanks for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
This season so far, you guys came in, you lost quite a few from last year. What's the season been like overall coming from November until now?
It's been, I think there's just with having young guys, there's a lot of inconsistencies as compared to last year when we were mainly upperclassmen. We knew what we were getting, they knew what to expect. And now with a younger program and different leaders even for that matter, it's kind of it's like a brand new family. So you're trying to develop leaders, you're trying to develop consistency, and getting people to buy in to what you're saying and what you're teaching them. I think that's the hardest thing about having young guys on the team is, they've had different high school coaches, all growing up, whatever they had, and now coming into a new program where obviously I'm not going to coach exactly like their high school coaches did. And to getting them to believe and to trust into what I'm telling them, even if it's different from what their high school coach had told them, and then getting everybody on the same page. And that's the hardest thing is getting everybody to be consistent and on the same page. And
even with the young squad, you guys have obviously been pretty successful this year, 5-1 in dual meets,
yeah.
Very good in the tournaments. How from day to day, I guess, how do you kind of ingrain that? Is a lot of it maybe on that select group of guys that have been there before that kind of carry that on, making it hit home when you're not around?
The biggest things that I've noticed to help to carry on the message that we're trying to portray is having leaders that will go out and do it, no questions asked. So they'll learn from their leaders. They can see people that are actually going out and doing it, and they're like, all right, so they see it and they're like, all right, well, I can do this. I'm going to go out and do the same thing.
Well, what's this year kind of compared to what your thoughts were coming in preseason with such the big turnover in the roster?
I wasn't really that worried about it. I think if you can, it's easier to me from what I've seen to be an up and coming program. So when I started, the guys that graduated last year, they were all freshmen. We started like 7 freshmen, mm-hmm. and they grew, and we were up and coming, and we had success, and we finished in the top 10 a couple times. Well, then all those guys graduated, but yet the people still want you to be on top. They still want you to be at that same level, but without those guys. Mm-hmm. So now the challenge is staying on top. Staying on top of the conference, staying in the top 10, top 15 in the country, and that's a challenge. And that's a challenge that I been here. This is my 5th year. I've yet to face, but the game plan and everything was still the same. The coaching was still the same. Getting just like when the last 4 years those guys were freshmen. It's almost like reloading, starting over. And we're better now than we were when 4 years ago when those guys were freshmen. Guys like our grad assistant Joe Norton. We're at a higher level, starting out at a higher level than what we did 4 years ago.
Well, definitely reloading instead of rebuilding.
Yep.
The Cardinals took a trip a couple miles north last weekend to the 74th annual Pete Wilson Invitational. Let's take a look at the highlight. Kevin Bratland's North Central Wrestling squad is one of 32 teams at the Pete Wilson Invitational. Sean Tomac took home 7th place at 125 for the Cardinals. Next up is sophomore Nathan Fitzenrider vying for the 133-pound title with UW Parkside's Cody Zimmerman. First period, Fitzenrider uses his speed to wrap around Zimmerman's leg for the takedown and the 2-0 lead after 1. Now in the third, he's up 3-zip. He uses the upper body toss to score another takedown. He would take the title 5-0, 2 Pete Wilson trophies in 2 years for the Cardinal sophomore. There's one more Cardinal in action in the finals, Andrew Zobak, looking for a 5th place finish at 141 over another Blue Jay, Larry Baca. Early in the match, Zobak shoots the single leg and clears the head to score the deuce. Same score in the third, and Zobak is back to work with another single leg for a 4-zip lead. Zobak keeps at it. He hits a low single leg to stretch the score to 6-1. He avenges his quarterfinal loss to Baca, taking 5th at 141. Coach, I imagine a tournament like that with the immense competition that's there has to be a great test for your guys, kind of a measuring stick?
Yeah, it's a tournament that's late in the season, which is always tough, because losses could be crucial, but also victories can help you gain a lot towards the end of the season. It's a 2-day tournament, 2 weigh-ins, which is very mimics the national tournament, and there's 30 some teams there, all with great wrestlers on them, and all in different divisions, Division II, NAIA, Division III. So it's a huge tournament, and it's a great tournament. If you can excel at that tournament, you're definitely increasing your chances of doing well in the postseason.
And a guy that excelled there, Nathan Fitzenreiter, he won his second Pete Wilson in 2
Yep.
years. Gabe Ewell, of course, last year took home 4 in 4 years, the first guy to do it since Pete Wilson.
Yeah.
Does Nathan, you think, have a chance to maybe repeat that?
I believe so. He's always wrestled well with Pete Wilson. Gabe was actually there watching the tournament, and it's kind of funny because there's a little bit of history because we've broken quite a few records in the last 4 years. Adam Johnson, who's one of our coaches, was the all-time wins leader, and then Gabe came along and broke that, and then broke numerous other records as far as 4-time Pete Wilson champ, 4-time conference champ, those types of things. And now Nathan is stepping in, and Adam had to sit there and watch Gabe, break all these records and break all his records, and now Gabe's sitting there watching Nathan do the same thing. So I was asking Gabe how it felt to see his records just crumble before his eyes, and he just kind of laughed. And I don't think they really care that much. It's kind of a good, it's good goals to have. It's good goals for Nathan to have to break those records. But I don't really think breaking an all-time wins record and winning 4 Pete Wilson titles is his main priority. He's looking on to regionals and the national tournament, and those are his main goals. We haven't had a national champ at North Central College since 1969, I believe, when Ed Jackson did it. We had a national runner-up a couple years ago, and we'd definitely love to have a national champion, and Nathan's a guy that can definitely do that.
The North Central Grapplers lost 3 in the national qualifiers from 2010 squad, but so far they haven't lost their grip on the CCIW. That's the subject of this week's What's the Word?
Everyone's doing a great job, all the way from our freshmen to Zobak and Billy and Joby and everyone else that's sitting on our team and our starting lineup. I mean, they all stepped up and worked a lot in the summer. And Kevin and Carl and Adam and Joey, they've been pushing us so hard all throughout the season, just get us to not be satisfied with where we're at.
People thought maybe this was a rebuilding year for us, and maybe it is. We got some young guys. We lost 5 or 6 seniors from last year's team. And but like I said, we have some younger guys in the lineup, some freshmen through juniors that are tough and are stepping in.
Just basically doing everything the coaches told us to do. They give us these workouts we're supposed to do, and always telling us to wrestle and finding the best partners. And a lot of us stick around in the summer and wrestle with each other and try to find some good competition.
We always wonder each year, which guy's going to step up and make the difference, which guy's going to turn the corner. And someone like Zobak is one of those guys. He worked hard over the summer and was wrestling, lifting, doing all types of stuff. And as a coaching staff, we never feel that we're out of it. We never tell our guys, we're rebuilding.
One of our goals is to win the conference. The fact that we have such a young team and they've got more of a seasoned team with a lot of returning starters, I think it improves a lot to our system, our program, how we can develop these young wrestlers and still be such a powerhouse in the conference.
Coach, your biggest opponent in the CCIW the past couple of seasons has been Elmhurst, and with them returning as many guys as they did, I imagine that victory over them in the duel earlier in the season had to felt pretty good.
Yeah, they're always tough. That's a duel that I think is good for Division III wrestling in the state of Illinois. Kind of hypes up the sport, hypes up. They're only 10, 20 minutes away from us, so it's always a good rivalry to have. We were fortunate, and we went out and we wrestled hard and we fought hard and we were able to come out on top during that duel. I don't see them backing down anytime in the future, so we'll always have to stay on top of our game in order to beat them.
Definitely, and we know postseason stuff, regionals, nationals, about 3-4 weeks away. What are some things that these guys really need to work on that you guys are maybe hammering home in practice in these next couple weeks?
We're working pretty hard right now in practice, and then we'll take some time off before these bigger competitions to get them to peak. When it comes to a bigger competition, what people need to realize is people have a tendency they want to change what they're doing because it's a big tournament. I need to go above and beyond what I was doing earlier because this is now conference, or this is now regionals, or this is now the national tournament. And that's not even the case. You just need to keep doing what you've been doing all year long. You need to keep doing what's what's made you successful all year long. And if you keep doing that, then you're gonna find success, in the postseason.
Sticking at it for sure. We'll stick around. We've got more Cardinal Report on deck.